Hello there, this is your average Joe. Now, before I begin, I have recently been made aware that there's another channel called Your Average Joe that apparently existed before I did. So if you were looking for the gaming, more... I personally haven't seen this individual's channel, so I apologize, but if you're looking for the other guy, you have the wrong video. I apologize for that, misleading content. But from now on, I promise I'll go ahead and put what my content's really about in front of my videos, which honestly it's what I'm going to talk about in this video, which is MGTOW, men going their own way. What is it, why is it, and who is it? So let's start with what is it? What is MGTOW? Men going their own way is a philosophy. And it's really more than a philosophy. It's a lifestyle. In that, essentially, once you've taken the red pill, which is the concept of the scientific, logical, historical reason for why our society is malfunctioning right now, and its civilization is currently just going absolutely insane. And as much as this makes some people upset, it's all factual and it's all true. There's different varying degrees on what the solution to the problem is, but the red pill itself is neither an extreme concept nor is it an extreme philosophy. It is just the scientific, logical understanding of how we as humans function, how we work, and why exactly we have the issues that we're having in modern society when you bring in feminist ideology and feminist dogma into basically civilization, and then you just drown it in this toxic poison. Now, inherently speaking, feminism has accomplished some good things. But, so go ahead and disregard that first part, because I'm going to get in the second part. It was never built with good intentions. It was never built with the intention of creating true equality. It was built with the intention of raising women's place in society over men's. And this is actually going back to first wave, second wave feminist ideology and dogma, and how they practiced their essentially their newfound religion, because it started as an ideology, but I think modern feminism can very easily be qualified as a religion with how ferociously people follow it, and the just pure zealous fury that they attack non-believers with is unbelievable. It's really fascinating, actually. But go ahead and fast forward 120 years, I do believe, 130 years now. And now we have the mess that we're in. If you'd like to go ahead and know more about the history of feminism, Christy O'Misty went ahead and did a video series over that, and I definitely recommend looking her up. So, I'm not going to put links to the videos in the description, because by the time that, you know, if enough people watch this video, it's very likely that they'll go ahead and they might take those links down, because it doesn't fit the modern narrative, and YouTube and other social media sites right now are going through this nice little Silicon Valley speech thought control. So I'm sure my video won't be touched because I'm a nobody on YouTube, but other people's more prolific and watched videos might. So rest in peace, Patreon. You guys did that to yourselves. But in any case, what we see now was predicted 120 years ago. What we see now is not really very far off different from what we saw 120 years ago. The difference is 120 years ago, they kept the more insane concepts of how civilization should work and how society should function more hush-hush. It's just now that they're so confident in their control of our society that they don't care who actually sees it for what it really is. they're assured that civilization and society will just listen to them because, well, I'm woman, me have vagina, you listen me, yeah. And if you don't listen, then you'll get beaten over the head with a club and, told that you're a misogynist and a chauvinist and a pig, enemy to all women. So, ironically speaking, though, it seems that most of their male allies seem to be the real enemies to women. Harvey Weinstein was a prolific, very, very powerful feminist who, was it 30 years of sexual misconduct? 40? Something along those lines. Basically, most of the most prolific female actresses you see in Hollywood right now have more likely than not slept with Harvey Weinstein. But, that's beside the point. The point I'm making is, what is MGTOW? What is the purpose of it? Well, it's not a response to feminism. It's not the anti-feminist movement. The anti-feminist movement was the men's rights movement, which most of those men have been either beaten into submission or pretty much laughed out of whatever speaking platform that they had, because, men don't really have problems because of all of our privileges, all of our male privileges. Apparently, having testicles gives us the power to just rule the world automatically without any kind of work and consideration whatsoever. Yes, this is why I'm so privileged to be speaking right now about this stuff, and why I've made videos over the ironic decline of relationships and essentially even sex between men and women with the advent of the sexual revolution. I mean, come on. We had the sexual liberation, we have the sexual revolution, but people aren't having sex anymore. What the hell is going on? Well, that's what happens when you tell people that there's cyanide in the Kool-Aid before they drink it. They don't drink the Kool-Aid. So, MGTOW is essentially, it's self-preservation. It's the concept of, instead of listening to what you were raised upon, which is, as a boy, I know that many other young men out there were raised with the concept of, when you grow up, you either go to school or you get into a trade, you find a girl, you get married, you have some kids, you raise them, you work hard, you get old, you may or may not retire, and then you die. But everything's happy and great because you found a woman, and it's wonderful, and love, and relationships, and romance, and oh, buddy, sex, it's worth it. It really is. And what's happening right now is that you have a majority of these young men that they go out in the world and, wow, I was told there was romance, love, nice girls, and relationships, and it's not working. It's horrible. These bitches are crazy. So, no, I'm not calling all women bitches, but it's that concept of you get out there, you actually think that things are supposed to work in a certain fashion, that you have a certain thing going on, and then you get out there, it's like, whoa, what the okay, wow, this is a mess. And either, and for most guys, they don't, they just kind of like, well, things are just crazy right now. It'll calm down. It'll get better. Or, I need to find a girl and get married because, I feel like a loser without a woman. I need to go, I need to go get laid because I'm a loser if I don't get laid. Because I'm a loser if I don't have the female validation. If I don't have female affection. I can't know what, having a good life is like without having a woman in my life. That nothing matters if I am just a single man unable to procreate with women. And then explain how all of these men are still losers when it comes out off of one of the most popular dating sites from a few years ago, OkCupid, which, by the way, if you look up the study, you can't find it anymore because it had that much of an impact, that in a survey conducted on OkCupid for attractiveness and willing to date, willing to marry, OkCupid found that most men, if you were to put all of their results on a graph, like little dots, you'll get a bell curve. You know, there's a bell curve in how, men rate attractiveness. Women, though, you find there's all of the results on one end of the spectrum and virtually nothing. Well, basically, you'll find results on one end of the spectrum, and then the other part of it is like, really? That's, wow. Okay. Because according to women, your average guy, who falls within the 80% of the male population, it's not the top 20%, it's everyone below them, so 80% on down, are not considered attractive. And this is where this discussion really started to come into play, where people really started to look at this and go, wait a minute. This is where guys really had to stop and go, wait just a second. Because the top 20% weren't just the good-looking guys, they were also extremely rich. Or they looked very rich. Or they looked like they had a place in society. They looked like they had the top places in society. This is what has caused many men misery for the last few years, is because of feminism and its drive to, basically eliminate, the divide between men and women. They've actually created it. And in more feminist countries, such as Finland, what they've found is it actually brings gendered traits out more. And what's the worst thing that a woman can be when it comes to dating and relationships? What could be causing these problems with society? And what is the red pill in MGTOW? And why do they have such an issue with relationships with women? It's because they understand that an innate feminine quality is hypergamy. It is essentially, you're an attractive man if you can provide her resources, if you can provide her with things that she wants. It doesn't matter if you're a good guy, it doesn't matter what kind of person you are, it doesn't matter what you look like. If you can provide her with the things she wants, and this is all women across the political spectrum, you can provide her with the things that she wants, she'll sleep with you. She'll have sex with you. She'll do whatever she wants with you. And even in some cases, depending upon what you're offering, she'll do what you want. In some cases, you're disposable, men. You are only here for for your resources. What can you give her? That's the difference between men and women. That is the red pill. That is the understanding of society and how things work. Women are not these innocent, lovely creatures that we've been told that they are. Women are not these, well, I'd be just so in love. That's stupid. But it's not stupid? I'm in love with the things he can give me and the security and comfort that he provides to me. And I love the relationship that I essentially get to ensure that my offspring will be taken care of because this guy has money and things. Now that's not stupid. That's a biological imperative. That makes sense. But if you just told people that this is how women function, that this is what drives behavior with the opposite sex, and that men Men have been sold this romantic concept of finding a girl and getting married because of love. And that, you'll have the nice career and the family and the things. That she likes you, not your things. That's what men have been sold. And they've been drinking the Kool-Aid for quite a while. Now this worked because it was a symbiotic relationship. It functioned very, very well because it was symbiotic. However, what happened was, with the concept of feminism, is essentially what you had first was women's suffrage, which was the very concept that women got the right to vote without ever having to fight for their country, without ever having to be drafted, without ever having to sacrifice for it. They just got the right to vote because they're women. Now, am I saying the right to vote was a terrible thing? No. But they should have been told to make the same sacrifices for it. So, because up until Vietnam, and actually I'm talking post-Vietnam, not Vietnam itself, there were many men who were fighting for this country that were drafted into the army and the military that didn't even have the rights to vote. But they were being told to go fight and die for their country, and they didn't even have the right to vote. But that's never been asked of for women. And every time you bring up, like, for example, there was a few years ago where the law was coming forward to get women to sign up for the draft. And what I found was funny was how many females were absolutely against the concept and the notion of having to fight and die for their right of freedom to vote, to participate in political and civic duty. You have to be able to be drafted, which is the whole reason why they've essentially taken the draft off the table, because it didn't, not because it wasn't going to work, but because it didn't suit women's needs. And if you start to see society for what it really is and how that functions and what it really does, you're going to start asking yourself, why am I even playing this game? Because I'm a man, I can't win. Especially not with how society currently works. And I don't agree that my victory in this is me getting with a woman who may or may not just one day divorce me and take all of my things, regardless if there's a prenup involved. She still has rights to whatever she wants. Doesn't matter if you're a good father, you could still lose your children and not see them again. Doesn't matter if you do everything right, you can still lose everything, and it doesn't matter even if she's actually willing to do it or not, because it's not the fact of, well, she's not like that, she's not like the rest of them. No, it doesn't matter if she's like that or not. What matters is that she can, at any moment, take a loaded gun and shoot you with it, and go, well, the law says, and you're screwed. That's the issue. And what MGTOW is, it's the refusal to play this game. It's essentially saying, well, I don't want to participate, thank you for your time, I'm going to go do my own thing. Instead of going out and trying to make the big bucks to try and attract women, I'm going to make the money I want to make for what I want to do with it, and I'll define my own success not on the basis of getting married and having female validation, but instead what I want to do with it. What do I want to do? And instead of trying to improve other people's lots in life, specifically women's lot in life, these men are improving themselves, improving their lot in life. They're self-improving, they're growing as men, and they're not buying into drinking the Kool-Aid. Why would I want to drink the same poison that I watched the other 20,000 men before me go through and suffer from? Why get married when in 50% of the cases they'll get divorced within the first 2 years? In the next 10 years, there's still a 40 to 60% that will get divorced anyways. of that 50% that remain married after the first 2 years. And after that, if you're still married, you're an anomaly. You are a statistical anomaly. You don't exist. Because that's what happens in marriage. And getting married these days offers absolutely no benefits to the men whatsoever. You're not guaranteed sex. You're not guaranteed love. You're not guaranteed affection. You're not guaranteed children. You're not guaranteed anything more than a tax write-off, really. And that comes at the expense of her just waking up one morning and just going, I don't like this, divorcing you and taking half of your shit. So you tell me, who wants to play that game? MGTOW is the understanding that the institution of marriage is dead. It's the understanding that this game is not in our favor, and it's the understanding that there's no point to playing it. So instead, I'm going to take my time and my life. I'm going to go do the things I want to do with it. I'm going to define my own success. I'm going to wean myself off of the concept of female validation, of the concept of having to have female attention, of having to have a woman in my life, and essentially reaching a level of peace because you cut the crap out of your life. Now, is this to attack women? No, it's not. You do whatever you want. You know, that's up to you. You're an adult. You have autonomy. You know, regardless of whatever females and the feminist party, because that's what they really are, is they're their own little sect of political ideology now. Regardless of what these people try to tell you, your identity politics individuals, you have autonomy, you have the ability to make your own choices, and you have the responsibility for yourself in what happens. And if you're one of those girls that, you know, is violently disagreeing with me, but every time you've ever had a problem, you blame someone else for it, or you get someone else in trouble for it, or you expect someone else to come and clean up your mess, you are the issue. You are the weakest link. So, that is MGTOW. That is this concept, is I'm not going to play your game. I'm not going to be involved in your game. And I don't feel like wasting my time with you. Now, is this to say that this is completely saying, no, relationships are bad, and women are bad, and having sex is bad? No, it's not. But now you have to go through the cost-benefit analysis. Are you worth my time? Are you worth my effort? Are you worth the risk that comes with you now? Especially in the Me Too era, where we have basically no due process for false allegations. Are you worth the false allegation risk? Are you worth possibly paying child support for? Are you worth the trouble? The reason why most of these men don't typically get involved with relationships is because most women fail the cost-benefit analysis. They're not worth it. It's too much of a risk. Now, on that note, I've been going on for 24 minutes, and I can talk for hours on this stuff now. But I've essentially kind of established, for the most part, I do believe, what I'm saying. If I haven't and it sounds like rambling, then I need to probably start looking into using a script. I've been doing everything pretty much speaking off of the top of my head. If you like this context, if you like this kind of speaking style, I'd like to hear it down in the comment section below. If you don't, I am more than happy to hear your criticisms and your critiques. But that is essentially my understanding and my reason personally for going MGTOW is, why should I play the game that will only screw me over? Now, if you're still listening at this point, I want to thank you very much for your valuable time. So, I know that we've all been given a very limited supply of it, so you taking the time to listen to my videos means quite a bit to me. I would also like that if you did like this video and you like the content on my channel, please go ahead and like and subscribe. So, to the 2 individuals that are out there that have subscribed to my channel, thank you very much for your subscription, and I look forward to making more content for you guys. This is your average Joe, MGTOW, signing off.